we've got FinLocker. So we're going to have Brian.vieaux is going to be joining us here. Brian, we're going to add you to the stream right here. There he goes.
Hey,
Brian.vieaux from
well done.
FinLocker. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, so listen, when we actually first had this conversation, when we first started talking about this, actually, I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, and I said, so tell me actually, one of the greatest pieces of technology for originators, not for the enterprise, not for, something that you were, and like right off the bat, he came right out and said, without a question, FinLocker. So you were actually one of the first people that we reached out to talk about this, because there is no other like technology that is so unique as what you guys do, that does such a great thing, a powerful thing for the originators, and doing it actually in a way that no one has ever done this before. Brian, if you could just give us a little quick introduction. Well, I always have the assumption that everyone knows Brian.vieaux, whether it's actually, from your legacy at Flagstar or from the work that you've done quickly with FinLocker. But just in case for those people that are not Brian.vieaux experts yet.
Hopefully there's not many. It would be pretty boring. So I joined FinLocker a year ago. I'm the president. I first invested in the company while at Flagstar Bank. And I did spend 27 years in mortgage production management, mostly in the third-party origination side. So what I'm going to talk you through in a few slides here before we do the demo is just kind of how I got to FinLocker and what we've built and how it's helping consumers and helping loan officers stay better engaged with their consumers. So thanks for having us today.
Fantastic. Well, and listen, if anyone has any questions, I mean, I see right now we've got people on Twitter, people on Facebook, people on LinkedIn, people on YouTube. So please actually, use the question box wherever you're at, whatever platform you're on. It'll feed into me, and we'll be able to answer any of your questions. So please feel free. And as my grandfather used to say, is the only stupid question is the one you don't ask.
I love it. Well, let's get rolling. How about that?
Fantastic.
Awesome. So as I mentioned, I invested in FinLocker and then joined as president about a year ago. And really what I saw was large fintechs that were working to disintermediate the local originators and local professionals, frankly. And you've got some of the logos here on the screen that are kind of focused on getting to the consumer first. And what FinLocker built was a financial super app. We combine many of the features that a consumer would otherwise have to go get from a Mint and a Karma, a Zillow, et cetera. We combine those features into one super app. We do it under the logo inside the tech stack of our client, providing a meaningful engagement for them and their consumers. Some of the use cases that our customers enjoy with FinLocker, we support first-time home buyers. So we're deep in education and preparation for the homeownership journey, as well as not quite ready borrowers, which is a tough thing to say, right? But you get those consumers that come into the sales funnel and they're just not quite ready, whether it's due to income, credit, DTI, or timing. The locker becomes a great grooming tool. And then we also live on beyond a mortgage closing and become a great customer for life platform for our clients to continue to engage with their consumers. And on the servicing side, we're a great platform as well as the customer for life, but also cross-selling other financial products to consumers. And we've got this growing use case in servicing for loss mitigation with the forbearance situation that's been happening here. From a consumer perspective, there are a ton of benefits in the locker for consumers. So kind of working our way around this wheel, credit, right? So consumers can enroll and receive their credit report, credit score, monitoring, and alerts. We have a dashboard view of the entire financial life for a consumer. So once they've enrolled financial accounts, we can enable spending analysis and budgeting. I mentioned a little bit about our focus on helping consumers be ready for a mortgage. We've built a perpetual mortgage readiness assessment, which we'll show you. A deep library of education content and videos that help the consumer along their journey. We can enable document storage, and specifically documents that are needed for a mortgage application can be stored in the locker. And when you combine the documents with the data that we aggregate in a locker, we can dramatically streamline the mortgage application for the consumer. We also provide value around real estate for folks that already own homes. They can track the value of their property as well as recently sold homes near theirs, and actually search for real estate as well in the locker. And we're accessible on multiple platforms. desktop, which is what we're going to demo on today, but we're also a native app on both iOS and Android. From a security perspective, consumers who enroll in a FinLocker, first of all, it's a simple process, but more importantly, it's extremely secure. We employ bank level security, multi levels of bank level security that always ensure the consumer that their data and information is safe. We protect the data both in transit as well as at rest, and we have identity verification as part of our security layer. We also perform our own annual SOC 2 Type 2 audit and are subject to audits by other folks like Fannie Mae, Fiserv, as well as a number of our banking clients. We have multiple patents on our product. We've partnered with folks like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Microsoft, as well as a number of housing counseling advocacy organizations. In particular, we're focused on helping first-time homebuyers achieve the dream of home ownership. We're a day one certainty approved vendor for Fannie Mae for asset verification. And as I mentioned, we have built a readiness assessment that perpetually analyzes the consumer's data in the locker, alerting them when they are ready for a mortgage. The key here is we're a consumer permission data platform. So the important thing to note here is the consumer's in control of their data. They choose what to share, with whom to share it, and for how long. And we're going to show you what that looks like in the locker. And the locker is not a one and done transactional platform. It remains beyond a mortgage closing, which connects our originators for life to their consumer, even on their phone as a native app. So let's jump into our demo environment here. So what we're going to look at here for the next few minutes is the desktop view of FinLocker. This is the consumer view of the platform. So a couple things I'll point out for our originators watching today. We are a white labeled custom platform. So we're going to build this under your logo as an originator in your color scheme. So we want this to look like as close to possible your consumer experience. So when your customers are in the locker, they're really underneath your logo in your tech stack. We also are able to add our originator. So the originator will also be present in their consumer's lockers. So each originator has a unique URL link that they can send to prospective clients to invite them into their instance of the locker. And then once that consumer's in the locker, they're always going to see you as the originator in that experience. A couple other areas that we provide customization for the originator is this rotating carousel offer widget. You can have up to 3 unique offers that are presented here. So if you have multiple products, if you have links with referral partners, maybe an insurance provider, their information could be displayed for the consumers here in the locker, each with a unique customizable call to action button. So this button can be programmed to go to a website, could go to an email address. In the case of this demo today, I'm going to show you how we enable a mortgage application to start from a locker using this widget. So for the consumer, how are they invited into a locker? So if we think about a up the sales funnel experience, especially first-time home buyers, the first time a loan officer is introduced to a consumer and who's in that journey towards home ownership, they can invite that borrower into a locker to help them prepare and get ready for the process. And they can do that in a couple of ways. We can build a landing page for the originator that can direct the consumer to more information on the locker and then the link into sign up, or a direct invitation directly to the sign up page can be sent from your CRM. Either way, FinLocker works with our clients to kind of build out that invitation journey. Once the consumer is invited to the locker, it's literally a 4-step process to sign up. And then once they sign up, they're in this locker dashboard environment. Again, we're viewing the dashboard or the desktop view of FinLocker. Everything we're going to show you today is accessible in the mobile app as well. So one of the first things the consumer would do when they're invited in, the locker would ask them if they want to enroll their credit. So there's about a 60-second process where they go through a identity verification process, answer some out-of-wallet questions, and then once that happens, this credit widget comes to life. We provide the consumer access to their credit score. It's a Vantage Score 3.0. This is updated once per month. And then clicking into the widget, the user actually can now see their entire credit report and actually drill into specific accounts in their credit report. We have helpful links here to the right for credit education. And then quick links here to the left will allow the user, if they want to opt out of the various trigger lead opt-outs, do not call registry, etc. Following credit enrollment, most consumers start to add their financial accounts. The locker will ask them if they'd like to add their financial accounts. So I'm going to click into our accounts widget. And now you're going to see in this case, this locker has several financial accounts already enrolled. The green font represents asset accounts, checking, savings, etc. The red font represents liability accounts. We have a mortgage and a couple credit cards. Adding account is super easy. You just type in the name of your financial institution. So I'm a loyal Flagstar Bank client. There's my Flagstar Bank online account. I would enter my credentials like I was logging into Flagstar Bank, click login, and then I would get a text from Flagstar, which would authenticate this my phone and allow that account to enroll. Important to note here, once you've enrolled financial accounts, the locker starts to bring in transactional data. So 70% of the accounts that we're able to enroll in a locker, we can bring in 12 to 24 months of transactional data upon initial enrollment. And then every evening, the locker will harvest the transactional data from that prior day's transactions. So over here to the right, you can see all the transactional data. This locker has nearly 5,000 transactions in it. I can go back and look at it back in time. I can sort it by account, by category. I'm going to jump back to the dashboard and show you a couple widgets that come to life once the user has started to add their financial accounts. The first one is our spending widget. So we're going to click into our spending widget, and I'm going to go back and look at the full month of June here just to give us a clear, full picture of June. So now what the user's seeing is all of the expenses in the month of June categorized by the locker. And so you can see up here, we've got this donut widget where I can hover over and see the different categories of spending. I can also go down to this table view. We're going to click in and we're going to filter down now to food and dining expenses in the month of June. So when I click in there, all of my transactional data to the right is now sorted for the month of June by food and dining. And then you can see we even filter deeper restaurants versus groceries. I think we even have fast food and alcohol and bars, go figure. So a very detailed view of transactional spending for the user, which then powers the ability to set budgets and goals as well. We've got a few budgets that are set up under food and dining here. I'm going to go back and show you our detailed budget now from the dashboard. So once the user has set up their first financial account, this budget and goals widget comes to life. And there's two options for users here. We have a detailed or a custom budget, which is what we're in here, but I'm going to show you for lack of time here, the detailed budget, which is our beta product that we've built out. So we've taken the HUD approved housing counseling budget, and once the user has input their income into the locker, and we get to this concept of a net income, so they've one time set up their standard deductions on their paychecks. The locker now knows and understands the net income. We're gonna track the actual direct deposits against that net income, but the FinLocker now automatically sets up line item budgets for this user using the HUD approved housing counseling budget off of that net income. So we've automated the budget setting process, and then we're tracking actual expenses as they occur by line item and providing feedback to the user on how they're progressing relative to their budget. Especially helpful for first-time home buyers who just need to get a handle on spending and saving for that down payment. Moving fast here because there's a lot to tackle. So a couple other financial widgets that are available, which we're not going to look at here, but we've got cash flow analysis, asset allocation. So if you have checking, savings, investment accounts, et cetera, and then a net worth statement. I want to pivot over to real estate real quick and show you a couple widgets that are focused on real estate. For consumers who are already homeowners, they can enroll their property address, and now we will track the value of that property. We have an integration with CoreLogic. We bring in the estimated home value. And then remember in the accounts widget, there was a mortgage that was enrolled in the locker, and we have the actual original balance, or the outstanding balance rather, on the mortgage account against the estimated value. So we're able to display and show our consumer their estimated available equity. This helps in making suggestions and recommendations for consumers in their locker when it's a good time to refinance, pay off high interest credit cards, et cetera. We also provide the nosy neighbor feature. So this is our recently sold properties near the subject property. For our consumers in a locker who are on the journey towards home ownership or buying a new home, we also have the ability to search for real estate in the locker itself. So I'm going to click into some favorited properties that I've already searched for in this locker. And you can see those are all showing up here. I can drill into any one of these and go into the listing ticket and see kind of updates on any properties I've searched for in the locker. The benefit here for the consumer is obviously they can do a lot more in the locker itself. And then a side benefit for the originator is when the consumer is searching for real estate in the locker, they're not on some other site where they're being basically marketed to or aggregated as a lead and sold. The loan officer here is one of our employees. This would actually be our lender's loan officer in this listing ticket. So let me go back to the dashboard and show you now a couple things around education and readiness. So we've got a deep library of education content and videos. And then we have a readiness assessment, which I mentioned. This readiness assessment starts to analyze the data in the consumer's locker once they've filled out their profile, enrolled credit, and at least one asset account. And now the locker is analyzing against a set of guidelines. Today, we default to Fannie Freddie guidelines. And we're going to tell the consumer and give them transparency on where they stand with respect to things like their credit. So in this case, once it's done doing its analytics, it's going to tell us that the locker's verified, no bankruptcies, no foreclosures, no late payments. But then we get down to debt to income, and our ratio is about twice the guideline. In this case, we'll display a video, short video, explaining what debt to income ratio is. And then once they've learned about debt to income ratio, they can learn about budgeting and how to set up budgets in the locker.
Wow.
And finally, I'm moving fast, Andrew.
I mean, there's so much. I can't believe this thing.
It's tough to do in 15 minutes, but I want to show you just real quick kind of the money shot, as they say. So once we get to a place where the consumer's ready to start their mortgage application, they've been groomed, educated, and are prepared, they click the call to action, apply now, and FinLocker now aggregates the information from the consumer's profile, their enrolled accounts, the credit report, as well as their self-reported information, and can enable a mortgage application to be shared with their originator. So here's our sharing screen where the consumer now can decide which accounts they want to share from and which documents they want to share. So in this case, tax returns, a couple pay stubs, and we'll just say a letter of explanation. And they're going to consent and acknowledge to share. And now FinLocker is sending an email to our loan officer. So here's the email. I'm the loan officer in this case. And we're going to go click into the link into the admin portal of FinLocker, where I can now see the accounts that were shared. Those are the financial accounts, the pay statements, tax returns, my mortgage statement, letter of credit. When I click accept, now I'm fast. This is like a cooking show. I'm going to go fast forward to the completed product. Here's the documents that were sent to me from the locker: pay statements, tax returns, the Fannie Mae 3.2 file, which is the data set, as well as a MISMO 2.1. And then we create an asset report, which we take the digital asset data and create an asset report for the lender to use in their underwriting process. So that's the speed version of FinLocker, Andrew.
I can't believe it. I mean, this thing is amazing. So now let me ask you this. Is there actually any, so if I get signed up a mortgage company, is there a maximum number of users? Do I pay on a per user basis? I mean, how does that work out? Because I'm thinking, actually, listen to me. Actually, I would be marketing, this as a service that I provide free to the community, because they're steps away from a mortgage here.
That's right. So there's a lot to unpack in that question, but I'll do my best here. So we have a couple different pricing models. We do have an enterprise model where the mortgage banker, servicer, bank, credit union type institution would pay a license fee per year per locker to FinLocker, and then a transaction fee when a consumer shares from their locker for the purposes of a mortgage application.
Yeah.
We also have a license agreement that goes down to the individual loan officer. So we support individual loan officers, whether they're at a mortgage broker shop, mortgage banker, bank, or credit union. And again, that's a license fee that provides that individual LO with up to 125 active lockers under that license.
Wow. That's amazing. So, and are people doing that? Are people using this as a tool, actually going out there, offering actually a financial wellness tool that is, listen, I mean, not for not, I mean, Mint is great, and there's some great tools out there, but I mean, this goes a step beyond and allows you to connect with a financial professional. Because listen, you're sitting down with these borrowers, you're having these conversations anyway. But usually, actually, the conversation about your financial wellness starts and ends with that application. So once it's done, all the good things that they talked about, and they just don't follow through. This sounds like something that actually is something that helps your future clients set themselves up for a future loan and also for a future financial success.
Yeah, I mean, there's two barbells that I like to describe. There's the up the sales funnels, first-time home buyers, folks that aren't quite ready. And so when they come into an originator's sales funnel and they're not ready, a lot of times I hear people say, oh, I send them to Credit Karma, or I send them to mint.com to get their budget in order. So the locker becomes that tool for that consumer under your brand, your logo as a loan officer. So you don't have to send them anywhere else. They stay inside your ecosystem. So the locker is really meant to help them understand their financial life, provide education and content. I didn't get to show you, but we've built a curriculum specific for first-time home buyers that serves up meaningful education along the way. And then to your point, Andrew, once they become ready, all their data is in the locker. Documents that they've stored along the way is there to really streamline that mortgage application.
So cool. That's so cool. So this is great. This is awesome. I think our next guest actually is a director of sales over at Mortgages Unlimited. So he's actually going to share his tech stack program and what he has going on there. I'm going to ask him for a job because I want to actually put this stuff to use. I'm going to actually pass my. I probably won't be able to pass my NMLS, but anyway, it's a nice fantasy when you see cool tools like this. So hopefully my buddy Edwin will actually consider me going to work with him. But Brian, thank you so much. There's a lot of people actually that when they registered for this event, they specifically asked for information about FinLocker. So we'll definitely connect you with everyone.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. And thank you for being literally the first person who signed up and kind of actually had the faith actually in this event. And we already have our next one scheduled for August 11th. So
all right. Well, thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. We'll talk to you, Brian. Take care.